Hello there, and welcome to another Starfield ship review. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the Ecliptic Falcata, or in my case, the Ecliptic Falcata 3. The number, just to know, it's a tier system. The higher the number, the better the stats on the ship. So, for instance, this tier 3 version comes with a 26 power reactor, whereas the tier 2 may only come with 24, and the tier 1 may only come with 20. So as the name suggests, this is belonging to the Ecliptic Mercenary faction. They're a merc faction in the game that, they do various odd jobs. You fight them on occasion. I don't know if there's any, I think there is a few non-hostile engagements with them, or encounters. But for the most part, they're the equivalent of, Talon Company from Fallout 3. But yeah, the ship itself is based on a Shroud Eklund vessel. I believe it might be the privateer, potentially. But I'm not 100% sure. Some of the comments will probably correct me because normally I'm wrong. But it's quite a cool looking ship. The base version of the ship by Shroud Eklund is very, very cool, very sleek. Surprisingly good in combat. So let's get into the stats. So fuel size is 70, which is not good. You want to have at least 200 fuel to be able to make adequate jumps. With 70, you're going to hop. I would immediately upgrade that to a better fuel tank. It's got a hull of 683, which is quite good for an A-class vessel. It's not the highest I've seen, but it's decent. If your shields drop, you have a little bit of survivability. It's got a cargo capacity of 1200, which is quite nice for a vessel that's... I want to say it's primarily combat, but with that cargo capacity, that's pretty good. Obviously, there's you can get a lot more cargo if you make your own ships, but for just base cargo on the default ships, it's quite good. It's got an A-class reactor, 26 power, which isn't too bad. Just looking at the weapon configuration, it should be able to run it easy enough. I always say you should upgrade anyway. There's the highest A-class reactor in the game, I think currently is I think it's 33 power, or potentially 31. It's got a crew of 4, which, again, it's not too bad. You might potentially be able to bump up the crew capacity, depending on if... I don't think there is a crew module inside their control room, but we shall see when we do an interior look. It's got a jump range of 26 light years, which is quite good. I think we could probably bump it up to 28 with a certain A-class modules, but 26 is acceptable. I'd be more worried about the fuel than anything else, currently. It's got 600 shields, which isn't too bad. It's kind of above average. I think the highest shields you can get on an A-class is about 900, maybe 1,000. So, depending on how intense combat's going to get for you, you might want to upgrade your shield a little bit. It's got 3 sets of weapons. It's got particle weapons, ballistics, and missiles. It's got 2 particle weapons mounted there on a horizon mount, the right side. They look like they're beam weapons. It's got a single ballistic weapon there on the right winglet type that looks like a railgun potentially. And then it's got a missile pod mounted on a hard point in the middle just behind the bridge. So I'm obviously buying this ship, but that's because I sell the ship beforehand just so I can get fair stats on it. This vessel, you have to basically encounter them. So the best place I found, I'll show you on the map, you can come across them anywhere. If you go to any system, preferably systems that aren't settled, so for instance if we go all the way over here, all the way out here, you have a chance of coming across them. When you jump between planet to planet, you can actually see there what I mean about the fuel. Notice how the fuel is red, meaning I would need to jump to here first and then stop and refuel and then jump there again. Refueling doesn't actually, you don't have to refuel in game. Once you make the jump, your kind of fuel refills back up. But anyway, I would recommend going to this place here. It's called Jaffa. Now, it won't let me go in there, but there's an Ecliptic base here. But I find that if you fly around the system, each planet, you will get attacked by random NPCs. It could be Ecliptic, it could be Spacers, it could be Crimson Fleet. And then that eventually you'll get attacked by them and you can just disable them and board them. Now, another method that I only started using recently, if you land on a planet, the first time you land on a planet and you exit your ship, RNG, like a dice roll happens. and there's a high chance of a ship flying over your ship and landing close by. And as long as you don't mess with the autosave, you can kind of finagle the system a bit. So what I did with another ship is I basically kept reloading the autosave until the ship I wanted landed by me. Now, I'm not sure on the full extent of like what ship lands where, but from the comments I've seen on other Ecliptic ships, it seems like the vast majority of ships that land will be Ecliptic mercenaries. So that's, yeah, you have two ways to go about it. You can either save scum or you can just fly around. Anyway, let's go take a look at the vessel. So here it is here. Really nice ship. I like the kind of the blue, silver tone for the Ecliptic marks. Really, really nice. Got those mean looking particle cannons there on the front, or on the side, I say. Let's board it without trying to break my legs. So we have the Shroud Eklund entryway with the... I was initially calling it a wheelchair ramp, but someone pointed out to me it's quite steep, and in hindsight, yes, it is quite steep. But, I don't know, it's a challenge, you know? I think it's more for, like... I was going to say it's more for Vasco, but I think you can walk up these... Actually, no, it would be. I don't know if you can walk upstairs. Anyway, I really like the Shroud Eklund entryway just because it has a door, and it's nice and spacious. So, always make sure to take the emergency medkits. In we go.
This is where I belong.
Where is Sam? Okay, fair enough. We have a 1x1 companionway. If we take a left here, we have another 1x1 storage way. And then if we take a right here, just to double check, I see that we have an infirmary, which quite interesting. Having an infirmary, you've got your research. You belong at the research lab. You don't strike me as a researching type, so. So you've got the research lab, and you've got the pharmaceutical lab here, and then you've got your little beds for your crew if they get sick. It's kind of interesting. Off the top of my head, I can't remember if the non-Ecliptic version, like the default version, has an infirmary. I mean, it would make sense for the Ecliptics to have one if the other one didn't, because, you know, they're mercs and stuff. Just double check I didn't miss anything. No. And then if we head back this way, and we climb up the ladder. Oh, and then we have another 1x1 storage room with a docking port there. And then if we come through here, we have an armory. Okay. I vaguely remember that I think there is an armory on the default version. So you've got an armory here, you can store all your stuff. I personally don't see the point of these, just because even though they said they patched the bug, I don't store anything on my ship now because there's another bug. But yeah, if you like this, if you like displaying stuff on your ship, obviously by all means just make a save beforehand, just in case you lose anything. I'd probably swap this for a crew compartment. And then past here we have the bridge. We've got a really nice Shroud Eklund bridge here, a lot of seats for your crew. We've got the captain's core there. Decent vision, not amazing, but you've got some nice sights. And then we have your co-pilot here to the left, your navigator to the right, and then we have two little side seats for like your weapon officers or whatever you wanna say, I suppose. So let's hop in the seat and see how she performs. So I noticed it has two different types of engines. It has... Can't really see it. You'll see when we take off. Got those Slayton Aerospace engines, and then it's got some other ones. Yeah, see, it's got the Slayton Aerospace on the top, and then it's got those... What are they called? I can't remember the name of those engines. I'm gonna have to quickly get rid of Sam, because even though I dismissed him from the ship, his ability is still popping up on the... Fun fact, you can tell if a crew member's perk is affecting your ship by the little green highlight. Alright, so now that he's gone, you'll notice that the thing is no longer green, which means we're no longer being affected by his perk. It's kind of weird, he wasn't actually on my crew. I had to hire him and then fire him again just to make him, like, yeah. But I have a perk that increases my power by 5, so for the purpose of this review, we're going to not be applying that last 5 power pips. But default setup, we have more than enough power for our weapons and our stuff. So we've got particle weapons there, mounted on the starboard side. We have ballistic mounted top right, and then we have missiles mounted in the middle. Pretty decent setup weapon-wise. So we'll do a speed test now. Probably gonna be around 140. Oh no, 150. Okay, nice, nice. Then we get a boost speed of... Boost speed around 600. That's usually usually like around the max if the ship is like, you know, like fully using its engines. So a quick agility test. Pitch. Ooh, that is very fast. That's quite nippy. Probably like an 8 or a 9. The yaw. Okay, this seems slower, but I don't think it actually is. It's probably like an 8 as well. And then the roll. Roll is quite slow. So very cool. I love the profile of the ships, Shroud Eklund ships. We're gonna do a quick teardown. See. Alright, so we only have 2 sections for this ship. It's quite small. So for habitat modules, we have the Viking CP100 cockpit. It gives a crew of 4 and a hull of... a hull doesn't matter too much. And a cargo of 200. And then behind that we have the Shroud 2x1 armory. And then we have the companionway 1x1 from Shroud. And then a Connect Pro Docker top. Now, if you were to swap out the Shroud Eklund armory for... I don't have one on me, but we'll just use the one to substitute. So if we put in a control station... You just remove the armory. Okay, I think it's going to stay at 4 with this current config, which, fair enough. Looks like we can't boost it currently. As for weaponry, we have this Atlatl 280 missile launcher mounted on the top by Light Sight. A-class, 4800 range, fire rate of 1, which they're all fire rate of 1. 86.09 hull damage and shield damage, and requires 3 power. And then we have this... Dangan W cannon from Shinigami. Don't think I've ever actually used this weapon. Oh, is it double barreled? That's kind of cool. It's A-class, 1200 range, 3.49 fire rate, 22 hull damage, and 3 power. And then we have these Disruptor 3310A auto proton beams from Horizon Defense. A-class, 4200 range, 6.65 fire rate, and 13 shield and hull damage with 4 power. They're both mounted on a Horizon weapon mount. We also have another... We have another Horizon weapon mount. I apologize, I forgot it. So you could mount more weapons there. And then for the engines here, we have a pair of these SA4330 engines from Slayton Aerospace. A-class, 2 max power, 15,240 engine thrust, 3,220 maneuvering thrust. Then we have the 154mm toroidal reactor, Dogstar C-class, or A-class, sorry. 26 power. We can obviously, if any of you have ever seen any of my videos before, I'm going to always recommend the same one every time, if I can remember. So I like this one from Spheromac DC. It's quite expensive. It requires 4 Starship design, so like it's kind of more end game, but this will give you an extra 7 power, which could go a long way if you want to add a few more weapons. But this isn't a bad reactor. And then the shield, we've got the Bastille S83 shield generator from Nautilus, A-class, 6 power, 600 max shield health. Now I know for a fact there is better shields. We have this one here. This, what's the cost of that? That is 8k. So for an extra 7 or so k, you can bump it up to an extra 210 shields from Dogstar, this one. And then I believe there's another one here. I don't think there's one here. There's an 860 one there. That's 1500. There is more A-class shields. They're not available here apparently. As for aesthetics, on the top area we have 2 of these Shroud Caps A. We have a Starboard 4 top and a Port 4 top. 2 of these Shroud Cowling, 3 LA Port and 3 LA Starboard. And then obviously we have these Horizon weapon mounts each side. And then to the other part of the ship, we have a Shroud 2x1 infirmary, Shroud storeroom 1x1, and a Shroud companionway. And then we have the Stability Pro landing bay there for all your docking needs, or landing. And then we have this 300T hauler cargo hold, 1,000 cargo, which is really nice. Also blends in quite well. And then we have this White Dwarf 3000 engine from Relodyne, A-Class, 3 power, 15,270 engine thrust, 2820 maneuvering thrust. And then we have the R4000 Alpha Grav Drive from Relodyne, A-Class, 27 jump thrust, which in this current config gives us 26 range. Now we have this Ulysses M3 tank, which is pretty useless. I would recommend... You're going to obviously be adding a little bit of extra weight, but it is what it is. There's multiple ways you could potentially go about this. I'd probably just slap one of these down on Bob's your uncle. Doesn't change the aesthetic very much. You're doubling the mass from 14 to 29, but you're also getting 3 times the fuel, so it's kind of a decent trade-off. And then for the landing gear, we have 4 of these. We have 2 on this side, ACCU, Lander 11, starboard, and then 2 port here. And then for the structural pieces, we have the Shroud Cap A, port 4 bottom, starboard 4 bottom, Shroud braking engine, and I believe that's it. That is the ship. So I'm going to put it all together. All in all, it's a pretty cool ship. It's one of those ships where like they're not too hard to come across, and you can definitely kit it out and make it a lot better. If I was going to upgrade it, what I'd probably do is I'd take this out here. I'd put your grav drive in the middle, like so. And I don't have any more of these engines, but what I would do is I'd get a second set of engines and basically flip them. So you'd pour the engines. And then for your fuel, there's a couple of ways you could go about it. One of the ways I'd probably recommend would be... potentially... You could obviously mount the fuel there, but it'd look a bit gaudy. I'd probably just mount it like at the back, potentially. Now, if you've watched my channel before, you'll know that there is certain methods to merge stuff. If you're interested in that, check out. I have 2 videos on the topic, but you could obviously merge them if you wanted to. Actually, you wouldn't even really need to merge. You could put the shield there, and then just slap this up here. It's a bit gaudy, but you know. Left block, but yeah, left block. But yeah, I just think it looks better aesthetically with these, like using the actual engines. But again, that's all comes down to personal preference. It's a really good ship. I've flown the base version for quite a while now. It served me well. So yeah, let me know if you've flown this ship or if you're thinking about flying it. And how would you guys go about upgrading it? Would you have kind of kept it the way it is and maybe just upgraded it all to C-Class? Or would you try and keep the aesthetic the same, you know, without modifying it too much? As always, guys, don't forget to subscribe if you like this sort of content, and check out some of my other reviews, and thanks for watching.